Welcome back to my mental health and crime channel. My name is Huda London. I'm a licensed cognitive behavior therapist, that's a CBT therapist, and a licensed mental health counselor. This is the case of the Idaho quadruple murders. May the 4 victims rest in peace, and may the correct justice be served.
The weather and the conditions, that's changing as we approach December, but what are some of the biggest challenges police face in this case right now?
Well, Ariel, Lana, it's good to talk to you. I think the main thing in this case, from the research, the studying I've done, and the people I've been talking to on the ground since we arrived this morning, is just misinformation, speculation. This is obviously a very high-profile crime that has sparked the interest not just of this small, relatively small college town community, but of course of every parent with college kids in America. People, are going online. They are combing through the victim's social media. They are studying the police reports, and from the beginning, police have been very tight-lipped. The one thing that they've said somewhat consistently is that they believe that the crimes that happened in this house, the 4 people who were killed on November 13, that those were targeted attacks. But they did backtrack the idea that there wasn't a threat to this community. Of course, initially when they said that, that raised a lot of questions, and so people started speculating, who could it be? And they start looking at people around the victims, at their acquaintances. And so a lot of that, misinformation or just speculation, even if it's, well-intended, has really filtered through the narratives, the multiple changing narratives of this case and this story. And so police have had to continuously come out and, really myth bust, if you will, all of the people who have appeared on social media as possible suspects, people at home are saying, could it be this person, and stop the finger pointing. Some of that includes the 2 roommates who survived, who were there on the first floor, also an ex-boyfriend of one of the victims who received multiple calls from Kaylee Gonsalves's phone and Maddie, her roommate's phone, also the person who drove Maddie and Kaylee home that night, the man who was seen on a surveillance video when they were getting food before they arrived at home that night. So a lot of the investigation, or what we know from the investigation, is what is not true. What police have said, we don't have evidence to support that or have ruled out those possible or non-suspects. But other than that, they've been incredibly tight-lipped about what they know.
And stand now as they've tried to eliminate some of the confusion that came from those early missteps?
Well, right now they are studying thousands of tips that have come from the community. They are studying hundreds of pieces of evidence that they've gathered from here. As you mentioned during the intro earlier, they took away the cars of the victims. So right now they're just studying, trying to gather any information. But authorities have said that they're not naming a suspect. They don't have a suspect yet. And of course, there's also speculation about the backtracking of information. I mean, did they jump too soon to say that something was or that the attack was targeted, and does that impact their investigation? Now we know that there's other bigger agencies involved. There's dozens of FBI agents that are at their disposal to study this case. And the other big thing in this community is, because clearly there's no suspect and clearly there's somebody at large who is capable of committing these gruesome murders, the community is on edge. Police this week said that they have been receiving an unusually high number of calls for suspicious activity, suspicious people. So people, are frightened, and because of that, a lot of students did not come back to campus. The University of Idaho is offering online or virtual learning for those students who did not want to return, or parents who did not feel comfortable sending their kids back after the Thanksgiving break. But there's still a lot of people in this community, and of course, as you can imagine, a lot of people are frightened.
Yeah, a lot of questions.
Was a proper job done in the beginning of this case? Is my question. Maddie was wearing a black coat, a long black coat, that night. And these 2 police officers found a similar black coat that looks like Maddie's coat. They picked it up, they checked the pockets, and they threw it back in the bushes. Aren't they supposed to bag everything and take it to the lab? If it's evidence, that would be excellent, and if it's not, at least they have checked. Why has this case been handled so unprofessionally from the beginning? Everything was a big secret. Up to today, everything is on gag order, which I can understand. They do not want to jeopardize the case, but clearly the evidence gathering in the beginning was completely unprofessional. The coat would have had DNA on it. Just say if somebody pulled Maddie, grabbed a coat, there could be hair strands, anything on the coat. These two officers, for some reason, did not think that it was important. The officers were searching for evidence, so they walked up the Banfield and towards the fraternities, I guess. Later on, you would see that they come down towards Taylor Avenue, and that is when they find the black coat, and they put it back in the bushes. Make it make sense. This is the same field that the Banfield boys, the 3 Banfield alcohol minus stop boys, were actually walking in. They could have thrown some evidence, because when the officers asked them to stop, they did not stop. The officer had to put on his torch and run after them. Kaylee's father said that Kaylee was very observant. She used to pay attention to her surroundings, and if there's something that she feared or she felt like somebody was following her, she would take a picture. This picture that Kaylee is taking, may she rest in peace, doesn't look like a normal selfie that you take of yourself. Pay attention to Joe Vito and his Coca-Cola can. He's smiling. Showalter's trying to hide his face from the camera. He did not order any food. Joe Vito lied and said he doesn't know Showalter, allegedly. If I am supposed to believe that all these people were investigated by law and enforcement, I would have just given up on this case. But we can see and we can feel that something is clearly wrong. I always believe that Christopher Kohlberger could be involved. He could have in fact planned the whole thing. But I don't believe he did this alone. Everything that was going on in the grub truck was pre-planned. These Supergirls were surrounded around people who weren't there for their best interests. It's really sad. Why did Kaylee come back? Her parents said to show off her new car. Did it upset someone that Kaylee was leaving? Boyfriend, former boyfriend, friends, maybe a secret admirer? Brian Koberger doesn't have a proper or doesn't have a motive to have done this. I know motive is not really that important in the court of law, but if you're trying to figure out something, motive always comes. Because this was a horrific quadruple murder. So was it revenge? Was it murder? Just for the sake of unliving people? Trigger warning. Was it about money? Was it about something else? What did Maddie tell Adam? Maddie's not thrilled to see David Lott. Her eyes look so sad.
Who lives here?
This was a party house or party venue. You can clearly see many people in the living room. Some were dancing. You have Emma Bailey on the left. I don't know who the one on the right is. So you can clearly see that this was a party house. Brian Koberger and his lawyer could easily say that he partied here before. That's the reason his DNA was in the house. And then it's going to be totally a different trial. He could easily say that he was framed. We heard it from Kaylee's sister, Olivia. She said clearly that there were many people who had the password, the code to get inside this house. My question is, why wasn't the two surviving roommates hurt or anything? If this was pre-planned, were they aware of it? Yeah, please.
I have no clue where they went. No clue. They actually started a party in their house. They were here at one point. They're not here right now. I just searched all the rooms. They left and went over to some other party, and everyone in the house. I just searched over to another party.
Okay. Who does live here? What are their names?
I am actually not sure. I live across the street. I just came over. I haven't been job.
Male, female?
I think it's mainly females. I think it's like 4.
What sorority are they affiliated with?
I don't know.
I don't get you.
I don't know if they're associated with it.
I guarantee you they're associated with the sorority. As many of them are living here. It's an off-campus sorority house. I've been a cop for 22 years here. I'm not stupid. Don't play dumb games with me. I'd rather deal with this as a noise complaint than getting a hold of the Greek council and the Greek board and all of that and the students and playing all these stupid fucking games. All I want to do is deal with the noise complaint. Because I guarantee you there's a lot of underage drinking because they left their alcohol behind.
Do you want us to try and get a name or a phone number and
If you could.
call someone?
We just need to talk to somebody who lives here, because otherwise I have to be under the assumption you guys are unlawfully entered because no one who lives here is here.
Okay.
Right?
We'll go.
So I need to verify that there was a party here. Now everyone laughs. So thank you. Thanks, guys. I understand. I'm just letting you know this is how it's going to play out. I'm not going anywhere until I talk to somebody who actually lives
Just
here.
notify us this is working for us. That way we can get some sort of communication between us and them. No, you're sure.
No, yeah, okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
I do. And hey guys, really, we're just coming here for that.
I feel like it's probably headed this direction.
Why wasn't all these parties stopped? Why didn't the police just get a warrant to search this premises? This doesn't make sense.